Well, hello there. Who is President Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon? According to his supporters, the former head of Breitbart News, Bannon is Trump's right-hand man when it comes to navigating the politics of Washington. But according to his opponents, Bannon has too much power and sway over the president. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi last week called him a white supremacist, a very difficult word to say with a side lisp. And now some Democrats are trying to paint Bannon as a scarier version of George W. Bush senior strategist Karl Rove. Bannon might take that as a compliment, but now former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mike Mullen, is weighing in on Steve. In a New York Times op-ed, Mullen claims Bannon is too partisan to be on the National Security Council and should not be privy to the nation's most guarded secrets. Is he right? Or is it just more sour grapes? Let me ask Cato Institute research fellow and international security expert, Emma Ashford. Emma, welcome.
Hi there.
So, Emma, tell me, how did Steve Bannon get on the National Security Council?
Well, President Trump signed an executive order that gave him a seat on the National Security Council. This is really unusual. Sometimes in the past, political advisors have sat in on these meetings. I believe in the Obama administration, sometimes David Axelrod sat in. But this has never been something that's been done by executive order, so this is a very unusual step. All
right, and does he have a permanent place on the council, as Nancy Pelosi has hysterically claimed?
In effect, I mean, he is entitled to attend all meetings of the National Security Council. And again, this is a very unusual step for a political advisor.
But this is weird because it was an executive order that the president signed, but apparently he wasn't fully briefed on, so the president didn't know that he was putting Steve Bannon on the NSC. How did that happen?
I wish I knew, because that is a real concern, and the implication is that Bannon or someone close to him
and the president is reportedly upset about it. The president is apparently upset that, you know, the language of the EO that he was apparently not fully briefed on included placing Steve Bannon in this powerful role.
If that's the case, then he can take steps, get together with his other aides and take steps to remove Bannon from the NSC. But if he doesn't take those steps, again, I think we should be asking questions about why a political advisor whose purview and remit is entirely political is sitting in on what are national security decisions.
Now, we know that Valerie Jarrett also held a lot of sway with President Obama and was able to fill his head with all sorts of alternative facts. Did she ever take part in the National Security Council?
Not so far as I'm aware. I understand that, as I say, David Axelrod and I think Susan Rice would sit in, and so sometimes political advisors would sit in the Obama administration.
Susan Rice was a national security advisor. That doesn't surprise me. I actually think that this may be problematic now. There is so much concentration of power in the Oval Office, but I think future presidents are going to love this kind of flexibility.
I think it might be helpful to look back at a previous Republican administration, too.
Yeah.
So George W. Bush infamously told Karl Rove that he was not allowed to attend the meetings of the National Security Council because he didn't want these political factors to weigh in on his national security decision-making. And that's a precedent I think Trump would really be wise to consider.
All right, we'll see. But anytime people try and force him into decisions, he does the opposite. I don't think he's going to remove Bannon anytime soon. But I think you're right. It brings up some very important questions, and it's okay to ask them and answer them. Emma, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.